Bethesda Game Studios has always been very quiet about their future titles. That's why at E3 2016, although it was very unlikely, there was some speculation that Elder Scrolls 6 could be announced. And what we got from that event was some shocking news that there was 2 new games coming beforehand. And since that event, there's been a few interviews from Todd Howard and Pete Hines, and they've been reiterating the same thing, that we will not see Elder Scrolls 6 for years. And honestly, at this point, it seems like Uncle Pete is a little angry about all these questions surrounding Elder Scrolls 6.
You're probably not gonna reveal Elder Scrolls 6 right now. Okay, so sorry folks.
And just so you know, not at the next Gamescom and not at the one after that, and there are
we'll keep asking.
There are at least 2 big games from Bethesda Game Studios before we get around to Elder Scrolls 6.
Okay. But that's what comes with having a beloved franchise like Elder Scrolls, and this also feeds the question of when we'll see Fallout 5, because that is another game that a lot of fans are hoping to see in the near future, but it's starting to look like it could be a very, very long time. Now, the easy answer that I could give to all of this is that it's going to be years till we see a Fallout 5 or an Elder Scrolls 6, but it really isn't that simple. And as some of you may recall, I've talked about this a bit in the past. I've asked people, when do you think Elder Scrolls 6 could be coming? A lot of people are certain that it's going to be coming before 2020, which I just don't think it's possible at this point. There's a lot of confusion throughout the community of what Todd Howard meant at E3 2016 when he said they had 2 huge projects coming beforehand. Luckily, Pete Hines has elaborated on this, and he has stated they are 2 full games. They are not a mobile game, they are not a new engine, they are 2 full games like Fallout 4, like Fallout 3, or like the Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim. And following that up, earlier in 2016, Bethesda's parent company ZeniMax Media trademarked Starfield, which at the moment it appears that this could be Bethesda Game Studios' next upcoming title, and it sounds like it's going to be a space sci-fi RPG. And the game after that, we have no idea at the moment what that could be. It could be an Elder Scrolls or Fallout spin-off, or it could be something completely new. All we know at the moment is that these titles are going to be bigger than anything Bethesda Game Studios has made before, which probably means it's going to be years of development. But in September of 2016, being interviewed by Metro, Pete Hines was asked about a possible presentation at E3 2017, and in which he replied, probably. Given what I know what we're going to have going on next year, what we're going to have to talk about, I would say that we'd probably have enough stuff to fill the time. Now, the reason why I bring up this quote is because we really don't know much about 2017 for Bethesda, and this may be the earliest time that we hear about their next upcoming title. Now, we also have to remember that Bethesda is a publisher also, so at that presentation they could be showing off a lot of other games, maybe a new Wolfenstein or a new Evil Within, so there is definitely a possibility that we don't hear anything from Bethesda Game Studios, and that all we hear about is other developers that work under Bethesda. So before I get down to the dates that I think that we more than likely will be seeing Fallout 5 or the Elder Scrolls 6, I have to discuss a couple of other factors, because there are quite a few. You have to remember that Bethesda Game Studios is not a huge gaming developer. They actually only have just about over 100 employees, but they did open up Bethesda Montreal. So what does that exactly mean? Is that they have more employees, although that the studio has been working on Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim Remastered, and they also are working on mobile games. They've been hiring a lot more employees, so that could be some indication of one day maybe them making their own Bethesda Game Studios title. And the next factor that we have is that they are not Call of Duty developers. They do not put out a game every single year, and usually they try to make sure that they give us the best gaming experience that we can get with these RPGs. And I really have to stress that word usually, because there was a lot of fans of Bethesda Game Studios that were upset with Fallout 4, being that they felt like Bethesda dropped the ball. They felt that there was missing RPG elements that were introduced in a lot of other games. In a lot of ways, people thought it was simplified, and not to mention that the gaming engine didn't feel like it was improved enough, and the massive amount of bugs. And this leads me to my next factor, and that is that Bethesda Game Studios has more going on, and one of those is a new engine is eventually going to be needed. In the next couple of years, Bethesda Game Studios cannot continue to work on the creation engine. We already saw the amount of issues that came with Fallout 4 with it. It's just outdated, and it's time for Bethesda Game Studios to work on a new engine, which could result in them having to build it. Nonetheless, with all of this information, let's move to the probable dates that we'll be seeing these future Bethesda Game Studios titles. We're going to start with the first mysterious game, and I think that the earliest that we could see it in is fall of 2017, and that is really depending on if Bethesda's been working on it before Fallout 4 was even out. And remember that Bethesda Game Studios more than likely will support these games with DLC going on, so I think the next game we probably won't see until at least 2019 or 2020. And then finally, I think in 2022 to 2023, that's when we should be getting the Elder Scrolls 6. And just after E3 2016, Pete Hines sent out a tweet joking that Elder Scrolls 6 would not come out until 22/22/22, which is a joke referring to Skyrim when it came out 11/11/11. But honestly, the year 2022 definitely sounds like a possible spot that we could be getting the Elder Scrolls 6 in. And just a few weeks ago, Todd Howard was doing an interview with Glixel, and he was asked about making a new Elder Scrolls game, and this is what he had to say. It's not what you call a big active project right now. There are some other ones that we have going. We know it's important to our fans and we need to be careful about setting expectations. It's certainly a game that we'll be making one day. I could sit here and explain to you exactly what we want it to be, but the words making it one day definitely scares me, and it definitely seems like it's not 3-4 years out. It's probably about 6 to 7 years. And next up we have Fallout 5, which I don't think we'll be seeing that until at least 2025, just about a decade from now. It's a long ways ahead, but that is probably the next likely time we'll see a Fallout 5 unless Bethesda Game Studios gives it to another external developer to make, which could make some sense if they really want to get the dollar bills in, because Fallout 4 was a massive successful game, so it would make sense. But at the same time, I think Bethesda may just want to keep that under their belt, and maybe if they keep expanding, we'll see it sooner, which goes for all these titles. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to smack that like button if you did enjoy the video or found any informative value. Also drop down in the comments, tell me when do you think is the likely dates for an Elder Scrolls 6 or a Fallout 5, and consider subscribing for a lot more additional Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5 content to come, and I'll see you later.